Of basketball ahead of us. Another beautiful steal perpetrated by Todd White. The action continues. A let's go situation here. Alexei Deacon going up against a double team. Jeffrey Moore has perfect access to the bucket. What you saw from that normal replay of that last bit of action was Juan Fernandez actually wanting to dish off the against Master Jaworski. We're crossing the Twilight Zone. That's an eternity of basketball ahead of us.
Welcome to an eternity of basketball. We are part of the Globally Ballin network. You can check out all the other shows on the network, including Who the Heck Are We? Their latest episode 125 with Jack Zambrano, the Cebu FC goalkeeper, and he's an Ateneo de Cebu alumnus as well. Check it out on their page. Our most trending episodes on YouTube, Atenista yung number 1, JB Gayoso, all the way down to Nilo Cruz at number 10. Check those out. These new episodes are gaining ground. Which one is your favorite? Keep watching on the YouTube channel of Globally Ballin. And then check out globallyballin.com for original articles, audio, and video projects, the Globally Ballin Network. Catch us live on the Twitter page of Globally Ballin. So we're not just on Facebook and YouTube, we're on Twitter as well. Check that out. Globally Ballin Twitter page. Follow us on social media, linktree/Globally Ballin for easy access to all of that. All right, so here we are again. I'm Charlie Cuna together with Sid Ventura. It's just the two of us today because the other guys are busy with other stuff. So they're with us in spirit. Ang ating episode today is 161, Sid. And we're starting this episode. We'll introduce our guest. I think the poster that we put on the Facebook page describes him perfectly. You know, he could score buckets, man. This guy liked to score, like to throw up from all the way out there. Mga Curry country yan, even before Steph Curry. And, you know, he was obviously made his name with Ginebra. Ginebra boy yan. Barkada ni Dodot yan at very close kay Coach Sani. Nag-guest na nga sa show namin actually in the past for the Usapang Jho episode, and he shared his stories about Coach Jho. But the most important part of that poster that we made is Philippine hoops heartthrob. Diba? And you'll find out why. We're going to talk about that. He's the heartthrob. They still swoon over him until now when he's there at the arena as one of our broadcasters in the PBA. So we'll bring him in right now. Atenista ito. Si Vicente. Vince Hizon. Vince Hizon is with us. Hey, Vince, man. Welcome to the show.
Great morning, and it's wonderful to be with an eternity of basketball. Hey, good to see you again, Chacuna and Sid Ventura. Hey, that rhymes.
Yes, sir. And you are now the main guest. You know, kasi dati you shared your the spotlight with Dodot and Coach Rino on the Usapang Tito Sunny, Coach Sunny episode way back then, no? A couple of years ago already. But right now, the focus is on you, my friend, and you stateside guy, so you were there in the States, you're a little kid growing up. What made you choose basketball? Was it basketball right away, or was it some other sport?
Well, unang-una, basketball was number one in our family ever since I was born. In fact, yung first basketball game I went to, I couldn't even walk. I was in a crib. My brother was already in high school. Bunso ko, I'm the youngest, so my brother was already in high school by the time I was born. So I literally watched my first game when I was probably 5, 6 weeks old. Of course, I don't remember it, but it's sort of been ingrained ever since birth. Basketball talaga. And I'm the youngest of 4 boys and I have 2 sisters. So we had some good 2-on-2 battles in the backyard. And my dad also played a long time ago for Ateneo de Cagayan, where Father Cuna used to be. My dad played Xavier down there. So yeah.
Okay, so basketball talaga. So you didn't dabble in other sports. I mean, because especially when you're in the States, obviously baseball is at the top of the list.
Yeah.
American football, and all of that. Wala, hindi mo sinubukan yun, or you sinubukan mo rin?
Definitely tried. Played other sports. Had a lot of fun with those. I played. In grammar school, they call it touch football or flag football. I was a quarterback because I could throw. I tried softball. I wasn't so good. I ended up getting hit in the head too many times. So I said, this is not my sport. And then high school, I actually did something different. I went distance running. I wanted to try cross country. And I still feel that was a big edge for me in my playing career, because it was there that I found out the true meaning of pain, of not knowing where to give up. Because in running, when you think there's a finish line, the finish line is not yet there. It's still another mile or 2 or a kilometer or 2 away. So yeah, and I really felt it helped me in my basketball career, especially in the second half. If you notice, throughout my whole career, I was always kind of a second half guy, because when the other guys get tired, I just keep going. So yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
the distance running can help with that. I guess it.
Yeah. Your elder brothers, Vince, what positions did they play? Like you, a shooting guard, or you got any post-up players in your family?
Well, my brothers talk a good game. No, just kidding. My oldest brother is the only one who actually played on a team. He played high school. He could have probably gone off for college, but really wanted to focus on his studies. He's an orthopedic surgeon now. But he was a point guard, more a point guard than shooting guard. My other brother, he was the one I actually played the most with. He's a lawyer now. He just likes to go to the park and beat up on people. So I learned how to have that rugged kind of lifestyle early on. My other brother, who was pretty darn good, but he actually hurt his knee pretty badly. And this is like early 80s, so not the best, treatment back then for his type of injury. So he kind of gave it up and stuck to golf.
That must have been really competitive. 4 guys, 4 brothers going 2-on-2 all the time.
I was the youngest. I mean, my oldest brother's 15 years older than me. Then my second is 14 years older than me. And then my other one's 5 years older than me. So, syempre, I'm the youngest. I'm the lightest. I'm the one they push around all the time. So, talagang they would bully me the whole game. But, I had to learn how to either get tough or quit. So, I don't know how many times I ended up crying and running to my mom, but I'm sure a lot. Again, they were much older.
Did you end up as the biggest brother, or are they as big or bigger than you? No.
Yeah, I grew the tallest. And I always like to tell my parents, you really kept trying until you reached perfection. No, just kidding. Actually, I say thank you, because I probably would have quit after having the first. No, just kidding. No, seriously. We had a lot of fun in the backyard, especially. But I ended up being the most, I guess you could say, focused on the sport. When I went in 100%, and I never really looked back as far as those things go. I mean, there was a point where I almost quit, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later. But that was probably my low time, but that was my decision time as well.
When did basketball really start for you as not a recreational thing, but as a serious thing already? When was your formal? Was it in Mater Dei? Was it in high school already? Was it later on in college?
Even prior. Actually, my very first coach when I was in elementary, when I was in grade school, was my brother. He did this as he was in between finishing medical school, and he had like a year to do his internship and all that stuff. So he had some time, so he ended up coaching us. I think he just wanted to put it on his resume as well. So of course he'll take all the credit. But I still have the pictures of him wearing his corduroy jacket, which he'll never forget. Anyways, yeah. So he was probably my first coach, and I started elementary. That was kind of like the most, I guess you could say, formal. And then we played a few tournaments. I just got hooked. I mean, I loved playing the sport early on, and especially where we were in Orange County, Grabe. The competition was amazing.
What posters did you have in your bedroom of players? Yeah, of players.
Of players. Let's see. Well, growing up, I had, of course, Magic. Magic was my idol. He was the reason why. And in fact, I told him that I looked like such a fanboy when I met Magic Johnson. But Magic was there, and of course, Kareem. Those two were really the 1-2 punch. And I had another kind of obscure picture of Michael Cooper.
Okay.
I'll tell you more about it. But
Obviously a Lakers guy, Sid. I know
Yeah.
Sid's a Celtics guy. Vince, kalaban natin si Sid at si Noel. But ganun talaga. It's all good. Basketball really starts you off. But so yun yung mga idol mo. Did you have any idea about the PBA back then?
I did, just because my tito would always tell me about it. I have my dad's, the one who migrated, I guess you could say, to the U.S., but all his brother and sisters were still in Davao or Cagayan de Oro. So I had so many connections, or in Manila, I should say. So my uncle especially was the basketball guy. He was the one who would sort of take me when he'd come to LA and say, "Hey, let's go. I have tickets. Let's go watch the Lakers." I'm like, "Okay." Of course, I'm not going to say no. So we'd go watch. And that was his treat. Again, this was the old days. This is you really couldn't watch the NBA, not like now. I mean, it was like Betamax and VHS. That's pretty much all we had. So,
Right.
But he, along those rides, especially, he would tell me, about basketball, and he'd say how big it is. Of course, I couldn't believe it at first, but he would definitely tell me. And then my dad, of course, having played, would tell me about how big the crowds were and how into it. It's the number one sport here.
How old were you when you first came to the Philippines? Did you come to visit when you were younger?
Yeah. Basically, I think I was 8 the first time. It was right before my sister's wedding, because she got her wedding dress made here. It was made of piña, so she wanted to have it done in the Philippines and bring it back. And even though they got married in the States, everybody wore barongs and all of that stuff. So
nice.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. So we never lost our Filipino side of things. My parents really inculcated first the Filipino values and family togetherness and all of that. So that was the first time. But when I would come, it was never in Manila. Like if I'd come on a month trip or 5-week trip, it's like maybe 1 or 2 days in Manila and the rest in Davao. So I knew Davao so much better than I knew Manila. That's why Manila was a little bit of a culture shock, especially going straight into Ateneo. Yeah.
But of course, during those times, there's no such thing as now. High school players are being recruited already to play, especially the Filipino Americans, Filipino foreigners. Schools want them from the high school level. Back then, hindi pa ganon. So there were no plans for you to come over to play basketball, right? At that time, wala, zero pa yan, di ba?
Well, okay, because our house was situated. I called it the Hizon Hotel, because all the relatives said, "Hey, si Pepito nandun sa Orange County, malapit sa LA. Okay, libreng lodging." So I ended up spending so many weeks on the couch because ang lapit kami sa Ateneo, sa Disneyland. We're near to the airport, mga 30 minutes. We're near Knott's Berry Farm. Movie Land, Wax Museum. The beach is only 20 minutes away. I mean, everything's close. Universal Studios is about 40. So like they looked at it as a little bit of plus it was a nice way to bond with them. So yeah, they would always just sort of come and go, and that's really where I learned a lot about what's happening here, both in Manila or Davao.
Mhm. Well, take us through that. Obviously, we want to talk about your high school career and how things progressed into a university or college career there in the States before moving to the Philippines. But in a nutshell, I mean, how was that? How did that go? I mean, you're playing against all these Americans. Obviously, medyo vertically challenged ka. Maliit ka kumpara sa kanila, di ba? These guys can
Yeah.
jump out of the gym. So how did you compete?
Okay, well, I just tried my best. Number one, I mean, having I guess you could say, sort of athleticism of, being a Filipino and running around like I did in the cross country team helped me a lot. But what really changed things for me as far as coming here was it was like the beginning of my second year or sophomore year in the U.S. An uncle of mine, like I always said, where the Hizon Hotel, came over and he heard that the son of Pepito is playing basketball, and he was sort of big time. No, not sort of. He's really a big time Ateneo alumni. So he came to watch, and he brought some VHS tapes of Ateneo versus UE and Ateneo versus LaSalle and all these things. He's like, "Oh, you're interested? Maybe." Because I'd be, third generation actually, because my grandfather also went to Ateneo. So I said, okay, I'll keep it in mind. I'll think about it. And that's where it kind of started the road, at least the mindset for me to come back. Because I said, hey, why not? Because, maybe. I mean, I want to follow in my dad's footsteps. My dad, because he was big on Jesuit education. All of my brothers and sisters went to Loyola Marymount here. My dad went to Ateneo.
Okay.
So he loved the Jesuits. So I told him, I said, Dad, maybe I can go to Ateneo and at least I won't spend as much as your other kids on college tuition. So that's kind of where it started, I guess, sophomore year. It kind of progressed. I started to play much better. Again, I was not a great guard at all. In fact, I was playing small and power forward my first 3 years, 2.5 years, I guess you should say, in modern day. It was only later that I had to realize, oh man, I'm not tall enough to go against these big guys, especially when you get to the varsity level. The forwards there are 6'6", 6'7". Here I am, 6'2". At the time, I was only like 5'11", 6 foot. So I was still growing. So yeah, that's kind of where it really happened for me is sophomore year. Then I started to improve, and I learned how to just go against bigger guys. That's why having that sort of big man's mindset, it still followed me all the way up to the end of my career. Because when I had to block out, I knew how to block out because I was a power forward for my first 2 years in high school. So,
Did you play against anyone who became a star later on at that stage, high school,
college?
yeah. Lots. I mean, where do you want to go with that?
So rattle off some names for us.
Sean Rooks, Chris
Okay.
Mills, JD Green, Derek Anderson. I mean, it was later on, it was like the who's who of like Don McLean, played for UCLA, Pooh Richardson, Casey Ogman, UNLV. I mean, and Dame. There were so many guys, so many influences. Scotty, Thompson, the guy from Syracuse. I want to say Scotty Thompson, but it's not his name. Is it his name? Sean. I mean, Dame. There's so many, and you get to see their skills. And you know what I always notice about these guys? They're no different than most basketball players, but they just do something really, really well. Either they're very efficient in shooting or very efficient in playmaking. But there's nothing really flash about most of those guys who ended up going to the NBA.
Well, now, since we're reminiscing already, we're going into your playing days. I think it's about time that we enter our segment, which we call the Time Capsule. And the Time Capsule is a segment brought to us by Fitbit. Fitbit helps everyone in the world to get healthier, from counting your steps to giving personalized insights on your heart rate and sleep patterns. Log your exercise and access great tools and content on the Fitbit Premium, all on the Fitbit platform. Check out the line of products on Fitbit.com. Feel the power of Fitbit. Okay, let's enter. These are the slides that Sid prepared, Vince, para sa'yo.
There were so many.
There you go.
Okay.
Look at that child.
Wow. There it is. Cross country.
Yeah.
That's when I can run. Okay, just to let you guys know, we were generally doing around 60 to 70-mile weeks. So we were kind of averaging around 10 to 13, 14 miles, not kilometers.
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
day. So our warm up was usually about a 2.5 mile run to this one park. That's the warm up. And then we would stretch at the park. And then we do our, different drills or things that we were doing around the park or around the area. And then we had to run back to the school to finish. That was our warm down. So that was a lot of interesting times. I'll tell you, I could run all day. I wasn't the fastest on the team, obviously, but I ended up going varsity for just a bit, and I'll just stick with that. I wasn't a good varsity player or runner, but at least I made it.
Wow. Somebody says you look
Yeah.
like James Reed. Of course, James Reed got nothing on Vince Hizon. What the heck? Come on. Edmond.
Yeah.
Yes, skin and
Hindi naman naman
you,
yan, di ba? Yan ang heartthrob talaga.
you would see like just skin and bones. That's kind of all I was.
Did you see, you have an admirer who commented. I don't know if you read
Yeah.
it a bit. Yeah.
Who is this? Yeah.
You see that on the screen?
Yes.
Number
This
one
is
fan, I
lady.
guess, right?
Yeah.
Actually, since we're doing time capsule, I have one for you guys later, but we'll go to that later.
Yeah. Yeah. Vince, I just want to ask you, during your time there in Orange County, were the Filipino leagues already big, and did you participate in them?
No,
Because
weren't-
now
there
they're
was
really, really big.
not like they are now. There's so many, and they're so like organized. Before they were kind of like they kanya-kanya. They get together, they go to
Mm.
Long Beach or Carson or somewhere in LA, and those were generally about 30, 40 minutes away. And, at this time I didn't have a car, so it was kind of hard to, get there. I wasn't driving yet. So, I stayed with just basically playing with my high school and my school teams.
Okay.
And then I moved to like a sort of nearby park that had a lot of players, especially on weekends. That's kind of where I stuck it.
Okay. What's the next?
Oh.
Well, here's a
what's
comment
this?
from your college seatmate. Okay. She's so grateful because you wrote a note for her Lola when the Lola was ill.
Wow, Ria. Hello, Ria. How
What's
are
up,
you?
diba?
What's up, classmate? I have some very good classmates. I have some funny classmates too, but that's another story.
Did
Ria,
they show their answers to you when you needed them?
no, I had a. Can I tell you?
Those aren't cool classmates if they don't do that.
Classmate of mine. I actually got kicked out of a class once because of my crazy seatmate. Because this is the time. Sorry, I'm going back. I know I'm old school.
Yeah, go.
Beepers. I had a beeper, right? And our teacher had this rule: no beepers in class. So if you're gonna bring it, turn it off or put it on silent. So I brought mine to class, but I had it on silent. And before you had your books on the side, I reached down to get some books out of my bag, and my seatmate reached over and put the thing not on silent, my beeper not on silent. So I had no idea. So I'm sitting there the whole class, all of a sudden, right in the middle of the class, I'm like, oh no. And the teacher's writing on the board, and all of a sudden he just stops. He goes, "What is that electronic noise?" I was like, "Oh no,
You're dead.
Your electronic device out. I'll see you next time." I'm like, oh. And then I look at him, like, "You did it right." He's like, "Yeah, sorry." Funny dude.
Why would he do that? Why would he do
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
Look at
Must have
that.
been jealous of you. Yeah.
No, I
Or
told you guys would really laugh, but anyways.
That's nuts, man. That's
kind
enough
of
to
a
make you
bummer.
fight with your seatmate.
Anyways.
yeah. What's the
My
next
gosh,
photo?
people are talking about showbiz stuff in the comment section. So really, basketball and showbiz are so intertwined. But I guess with
Yeah,
Vince, it's
almost
kind of the same thing. Mga artista yan.
Yeah.
So this is the pogi photo. We start with that, but we move on. Let's look at the next photo in the lineup.
My first
Ito
time
action shots na. So this is what you're saying. So you played just okay. Before we go to Ateneo, on your Wikipedia page, there's a bunch of schools that you went to before you finally decided to go to Ateneo. There's a listing. Okay, there's Cypress College, then there's Boise State, Biola. What happened there? I mean, it's year to year you were transferring from here to there. Let us know.
Perfect. I love it. So finally, I can clear the air on this.
Yeah.
Okay, so coming out of high school, especially going from my junior to my senior season, I had a few schools looking at me, like Division 2, one Division 1, but mostly were more Division 2 schools for scholarship. So and I kept those open, and I had to made a decision. And there was Ateneo as well, who was offering to have a scholarship. So I kind of kept my options open there. But when I got to my senior year, things just panned out in a certain way. I just said, okay, fine, I'm gonna go to Ateneo. I want to go to Ateneo. And I made my intentions known to my uncle. And in fact, I asked for a ticket and all that stuff, and everything was being fixed. So when I graduated from high school in modern day, you graduate in May, and the end of May, and here you start they call it ORSEM, orientation seminars at Ateneo, first week of June. So I literally had a week to get my derriere from one side of the ocean to the other. So I did the normal thing. I graduated, all that stuff, and then I went to a graduation party and all that stuff. And I had just a few days. But when I woke up after that weekend, it was a Saturday. I was so sick. I just felt terrible. I had a really high fever. Sunday, worse. Like, it was super bad, and I'm like, what is going on? Sunday, I woke up with a very severe case of chickenpox. And I was scheduled to leave 72 hours from that. And when you have chickenpox, number one, they won't let you on the plane because you're highly contagious. And it just wasn't a good situation. I'll just leave it at that. So I had no plan B at that point, because I kind of didn't even apply to other schools, because I said Ateneo was it. But now I can't go to Ateneo, because if I go, it'll have to be after a month and a half, after all of those things have gone away, and I'll look terrible, feel terrible, starting in a new, atmosphere and all that stuff in Manila. So I just said, it's not going to happen. So God had a plan. So I looked around the schools, the local, they call them JUCOs, or junior colleges around. And I looked at a bunch of the ones. I went to 5 or 6 of them. But there was one particular school that I just fell in love with right off the bat. It's called Cypress College. Why? Because the coach that we had, and I just started talking to him. I was like, this guy is so nice. He's so, humble and all of that stuff. You know what I found out? He was the very first All-American under John Wooden at UCLA. His name's Don Johnson, not the actor. Don Johnson. He'd been at Cypress for decades, and he discovered talents. I'm sure you know these guys, Swen Nader and Mark Eaton. Mark Eaton ended up being the NBA Defensive Player of the Year. So when we'd go to these sort of open runs during the summer, he would bring some of the Utah Jazz guys. So there was like Bobby Hansen and some others. We were having open runs. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. And that was the time I thought I had to be a shooting guard, so I really started to focus on my shooting. And I'll never forget, Mark Eaton blocked one of my 3-point shots while he was still in the middle of the key. He was so high, on top of the what do you do? I mean, again, different level. So that's how I sort of ended up going to Cyprus, because I just felt it was a good fit. It wasn't far from my house. And the facilities were amazing. And I totally tell people, I mean, if you have a chance to go to Cyprus, go. I think we have, is it David Burrell? He's playing.
Dave Morrell, yeah.
Yeah, he's a Cyprus guy. So he was tripping out, because he's like, oh my gosh, you're on the Hall of Fame wall. And I'm like, yeah, I was an MVP once upon a time back in Cyprus. Cyprus happened. So, and when I started to do really well at Cyprus, that was the time that I really started to hit the weights and all that stuff, and I really started to improve. That's when the bigger schools started to come in. So I had I think it was about 17 or 18 different Division 1 offers, and a bunch of D2s and NAIs and all these things. So took some recruiting trips. Ended up taking one to all Division 1s except for one. I went one Division 2. But I just, when I went to Boise, it just sounded so nice. I mean, number one, they had my favorite colors, blue and orange. I love blue and orange, so that's what their uniforms were. I was gonna take over a spot left by a guy who was gonna go probably eventually to the NBA. His name's Chris Childs. You ever heard of him?
Of course.
Yeah. Knicks.
Played for the Knicks, yeah. So I would have been the year after Chris. In fact, I had his locker after he left. So anyway, I couldn't fill up his shoes. But what happened was, and the reason why really I left is there was what we call a Western swing where we played against a bunch of schools along the West Coast. So in 6 days, we were going to play like 3 teams. University of San Francisco, St. Mary's, and Pepperdine. So we were going to do the whole West Coast thing. So when I left Boise, it was Fahrenheit. It was 50 degrees. This is December 19th. Okay, but I had to be back in Boise on the 25th because we had a Christmas tournament in Boise. When I got back, it went from 50 degrees above zero to 25 degrees below zero in 6 days. I don't like this place anymore. I'm a SoCal boy, tropics boy. I don't like snow so much. So when I got there, I couldn't find my car. I didn't know how to live in the snow. Everything's white. It was just snow everywhere. The pipes were frozen in our dorm. I couldn't even take a shower. So I was just like miserable. So I ended up calling my uncle again, and I said, Tito, what's the weather in Manila right now? It's about 85. It's wonderful. I'm like, hey, I'm in Manila. So yeah. So anyways, made the transition back to LA first, and then I played for Biola, which stands for Bible Institute of Los Angeles. They were also a school that was very interested in me, and the coach was an alumni of Cyprus. So he said, hey, why don't you play with us first? Anyways, your playing years won't really be so affected. And we had a very good team. We were ranked number 4 in the U.S. We had two guys who ended up going pro aside from me. One was in Yugoslavia, and another one, I think I want to say Sweden or Germany. Anyway, so we had a pretty darn good team. And then finally I said, okay, I'm going to pull the plug. Now, the original intent of coming to the Ateneo was the junior college years of Cypress College were not supposed to count. That's what they told me. So I was supposed to have another 3 years left to play. Well, my favorite, I won't say what school, but my favorite green school made a complaint after I started to play well in my first year. So that's why, anyway, I know I'm fast forwarding a little bit. That's why I ended up going pro, at least at the draft in '94. I wasn't planning on it. I was planning on doing it like '96 or whatever. But anyways, that's how.
Yeah, so you were one of the original one and dones, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess for UAAP, but I went there. I took my residency and I did all that stuff too because I couldn't just play right away. So the residency year was fun because that's where I got to know, especially Doda Jaworski. We were there together. We basically lived near each other, so we were in practice and taking rides together back and forth pretty much all the time. Yeah.
It was tough when you went to Ateneo. Those weren't obviously the Ateneo glory days.
That was La Salle,
when
FEU.
you got to the campus, yeah, the La Salle, FEU, UST, those were the dominant teams. Ateneo had won championships late 80s, but then some players had gone and this and that. They looked at you as some sort of savior, Vince. You came in, scored 40 points your first game, and you were just gunning it from everywhere. You obviously had the greenest green light any player could ever have to put it up, and then you had some teammates. Who were can you just go through some of your teammates at that time just for everyone's consumption?
Oh, wow. Well, everybody knows the tandem of Hizon Tixon. I mean, Richie Tixon was the velvet touch. Galing. He was so quick and, man, he could really shoot. But I used to always joke with him. I'm like, hey, Richie, why don't you go right? Even when he go right, he finished left. So I started to sing it. I think it was the singer, 80s. I said, you have no right. Anyways, I used to
Phil Collins. Phil Collins, man.
I mean, we would learn a lot from each other. I learned about his grit, and man, that quickness he had was pretty remarkable. So, I just feel that if we had a center, we would have been a really, really amazing team. I mean, we had a good guy, Paulo Cedro, but we didn't have a dominating to go against like Espino or Limput or anything like that. So, anyways, let's see. My teammates, I had Dodot, of course, Jaworski, Vince Santos, who's actually a football guy now. He's one of the heads of MVPSF for soccer.
And he's one of the guys who played UAAP basketball and football.
Yes, and he hates when I say soccer, so I'll just say soccer again. Sorry, I'm American. Americans say soccer, not football. Anyway, no, he's a good guy. See, Basti Lacson, one of the with the Avoidus group now. He's doing really well. Yeah, so
were you teammates with Coach? Sorry, Vince. Were you teammates also with Coach Gabisev?
Yes, Gabby. He says I'm the reason why he didn't take any shots his whole senior year because I took them all. He's a good guy. He's a really good guy.
Who else? I'm trying to remember who else were there. Was Mike Singh with you? No, oh no.
No. See, that's I give Mike and Gabby Kui a lot of hell. You guys, if we had a center, we had two good guards. We didn't have a established inside game, so we were pretty easy to go at. But Mark Molina.
Mark was there. I remember.
We were just with him a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I bumped into him last Wednesday at Araneta. But when you came over, your residency year was 92, right? Your residency year. So it was still Coach Chot. But then when you played 93, because Chot went on to Purefoods, Coney Island, Baby Delupan took over for his last coaching stint. Did you already have an idea how legendary Baby Delupan was before he took over? And were you excited to be playing for him?
Yeah, well, especially because Dodot's on my team, so he's like, oh my gosh, we're getting Baby. He's an icon. He's really one of the best ever, and he's so humble and nice, and we're going to learn a lot. So so I was pretty excited. I was kind of inis with Chot because I was like, every time I'm trying to play for you, you leave me. And that happened twice because he also drafted me to play what do you call this? It's a PBL for Burger Machine, and then he left that too. So I'm like, drafting. I'm seeing these names: Junior Rentosa, of course.
Right, and the other three. No, this is correct, though. John was your center as well, right? John was a center.
Correct. Hefty lefty. Before there was
Sandy. Everybody calls him Sandy because they don't want to say his last name.
Yeah,
it's too hard.
Even me, I've been, I've known him for like 30 years. I still can't say it right.
Sandy A. Everyone calls him Sandy A.
Sandy A. And Red Kamwa.
Back then, I knew Sandy was headed for great things because he's one of those he's just so focused on he loves basketball. Wants to know every aspect of it. He's so like uber focused on even the smallest details. I mean, I played my whole life. I don't know half the stuff he knows. So,
well, I can't name who's guarding you on the left picture, number 10, but the name is blurred. But on the right, that guy's from LaSalle. That's Juno Sauler.
It's Coach Juno.
That's Sauler. And this is Roy Literal, I think.
Oh, okay.
Adamson.
Yes,
from Adamson.
Might be. Yeah. But that's Coach Juno Sauler. So we're still around. They're still around the PBA, both Vince and Juno.
The dark years of Ateneo, because they don't obviously turn on the lights when we play, just for the court.
It is a dark stadium actually. Loyola Gym's pretty dark.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the PBA. Yeah, UAAP still played its games there. Well, I remember Ateneo finished I think 4th this season because it was the UST sweep, right? 93. No one could beat them. But the last game of the season, there was a doubleheader, Araneta. I think maybe this is it. And the first game was Ateneo LaSalle. The second game was UST Adamson. If UST beat Adamson, then they would be the champions. But you guys were the opening act. I think that's the first time that's ever happened in UAP history where Ateneo LaSalle was not the main event. Yeah, it was just the opening. You guys beat LaSalle and you dunked the ball. I remember that. I was watching courtside. That was the last basket of the game.
My memory fazed me on that one. I don't remember that.
Oh, you don't remember that? Yeah, you did. You dunked the ball, and the Ateneo crowd just went crazy because not only did you beat Ateneo, LaSalle, you finished the game that way. So but I do remember that.
it's kind of funny how the Ateneo alumni remember things. Because I told them, I said, you know what, I was sorry that we didn't have a better season. They're like, it's okay. We finally beat the green guys.
Yeah.
4 years. It's been a while. So they were so happy about that. But
Yeah. They know what's important, man.
yeah, well, in that respect, especially those guys. My dad warned me. He said, ingat, kasi Ateneo LaSalle is a big deal. And like back in the days, I mean, it wasn't high. It was like they'll bring weapons practically to the games. And it was something like if you had a sticker of rival school on your car, they'll kick your car or something like that.
Yeah. But people tend to forget that. So Ateneo, you played, and then everybody remembers you jumping to the PBA. But you had a short, successful stint with the PBL. Was it PBL or still PABL at the time?
PBL.
It was already
PBL already. Because your team, as you mentioned Burger Machine, the Chicken Masters. That's their name. The Burger Machine Chicken Masters. So there's been a lot of chicken going on.
Yeah.
And this is one photo of the Chicken Masters. Because you think about Burger Machine, you don't think about chicken, but they were the Chicken Masters. And this is a champion team. Mang Tom is in that picture. Look at Mang Tom Urbano on the right, in the front.
Yeah.
And so just to go through this lineup, we have, is this the one with Duremdes? Is Duremdes here?
Yes.
Yeah, Duremdes, Wilmer Ong, Vince Hizon, Jun Marzan, Mike Mustre, Richie Tixon, Edmund Reyes, Matt Macalintal, Long David, Billy Reyes, Oliver Agapito, Elmer Lago, and Ronnie Canding, and Boise Samar.
That's right.
Not Boise State, but Boise Samar.
Boys, that's a good time. Yeah, and
diba?
Coach was Coach Perry Ronquillo.
Lahat yan nag-PBA.
Yeah, and like I said,
can you imagine that?
And our coach was Perry Ronquillo was our coach, so it was a good time.
Pati coach nag-PBA, di ba? Kaya antindi.
Yeah, and our ball boy right there, number 1, Ace. That's our boy. Yeah, he was cool, nice guy. So yeah, we had a lot of fun. We didn't have too much of an inside presence, but man, we just ran past everybody. And that Kenneth was amazing. He was the MVP of the season that year. I just kind of came off the bench. I was kind of the rookie, but my game kind of came alive during the playoffs because they're like, okay, this guy won't shoot. I'm like, suckers, leave me open. Bye-bye.
And you had some guys who could set some pretty mean screens on this team. Wilmer Ong, Agapito.
Yeah.
Edmund Reyes,
Edmund Reyes, no one can move Edmund Reyes. Taong bato, di ba?
Yeah. He still looks like a bodybuilder. I mean, even like he's grabbing. See, Edmund's so strong. Yeah, if I can get a double pick off of Edmund and Wilmer, that's I'm wide open. There's nobody's gonna get around.
That's a sure thing already. I think the next photo is also a Burger Machine, right? Let's look at the next photo.
I think
it's not.
This
is the one.
Okay. I was gonna say this also looks like UAAP All Stars from 1993. You have Elmer Lago from LaSalle, and then Edmund Reyes, of course, from UST, and then Long David from FEU. And then, of course, you and Richie from Ateneo, and then, of course, Kenneth from Adamson, right? So all of the, the top teams that year were well represented in this team. It's pretty star-studded.
And people forget, people talk about Chot Reyes all the time. He's still in the limelight. Jun Reyes was a big star back then. He's in the state. But that's Billy Reyes. Kapatid rin nila yan, the guy in the middle, in the front. Played for UST in college and went to the PBA, played for Purefoods for a bit.
Yeah,
so,
we were together.
Billy. He's the tallest. He's the tallest Reyes brother.
Yeah, and the best looking.
Okay,
so
I don't know. Coach Chot might have
that. Just kidding. No, Billy's a good guy.
Who did you play in the finals? Do you remember who you played in the finals here?
It's either Nikon or InstaFood. Yata. One of those.
Okay.
Maybe one of our viewers can remember. And
who were you matched up with? Do you remember who were you guarding in the finals? Who was guarding you?
Not much. I didn't get a lot of playing time, so I just kind of came in and wherever I got open, I shot the ball. So it was nice. You look at the guards. I mean, most of the teams I've done well. I have had good guards who set me up, and there you have, Richie. You got Matt Macalintal, you got Billy, you got Boise. I mean, and Kenneth is known for hitting the open guy too. So again, when you have that kind of separation, I just need that space, and I can do my thing.
Solid yung team na to. Antindi nito. I even forgot about this and just rediscovered it when I was researching for Vincent. When I saw the line, what the heck?
I still have this jersey, by the way. I'm never gonna get rid of this one.
All right. So at least you keep those. A lot of our guests have lost or given them away. So at least you keep even Burger Machine.
Hey, you want to go to time capsule again just for a second? Because I got a question, and I'll give one Ginebra jersey.
Oh.
Whoever
whoa.
who knows this shirt? And where was I wearing this shirt? Why is this shirt famous?
Can you
Where's the-
move closer to the camera, Vince, so that they can see?
Okay, guys. First one to answer in the comments. Who knows that shirt? Where did he wear it? Where and when did he wear that shirt? We'll get a Ginebra jersey from Vince Hizon. We'll just get
Let's
your
go,
details
guys.
later so he can move it to you.
There you go.
Or grab it to you. Okay, guys. Whoever. Bahala na kayo. That's it. So you're playing for PBL Burger Machine. By this time, are you decided that you're going to the PBA already?
Actually, no. Like I said, it was during this time that Father Holger, who was the athletic director of the Ateneo, came to me. And he said, Vince, we came with the idea of you playing 3 years for the UAAP. But, again, there's been a complaint about your 2 years you spent at Cypress College, saying those should count. And I said, Father, you tell me what to do. Because, I don't want to, drag the school through anything. And he goes, yeah, well, that might happen. And he mentioned a certain reporter might start talking. I won't say his name either, but might start saying things. So he goes, just go to the PBA. And if it works out, good. He goes, from what I've heard, you're ready for it anyways. And if it doesn't work out, just come back and finish your school here. So that was kind of when I decided it's time to enter my name in the draft. So honestly, from there, my mindset was, who wants me, right? Because I'm like, I hadn't talked to any team. So I talked to all the teams. I talked to Santa Lucia. I talked to Coach Chot, who was with Purefoods at the time. I talked to some guys from Shell. And I talked to Coach Jaworski. Again, out of all the teams, everyone said, including Chot, you're not ready. You need more exposure, experience, cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. It was only Coach Jaworski who said, okay, I'm going to get you. I'll get you the first pick of the second round, because he had the number 1 pick that year. I said, okay. So at least I had the confidence going into the draft. Someone's interested in me and I have a chance, right? That's all I really wanted, was a shot. But lo and behold, Coach Chot on game day, draft day, says, guess what? Last pick of the first round, Vince Hizon. What? You said you didn't want me. Okay, so it all worked out.
Apparently, he did want you, no? Yeah. Let's just put up that photo again, Carla, the Burger Machine photo, before we move on to the next one. Just to let everyone remember that he did play for the Burger Machine Chicken Masters, and they won a championship. So nag-champion. That's a short stint, yet you win a championship. And now let's move on to the next one.
We got lots of chicken burgers after that.
There you go. That's draft day, my friend. You're there with your new teammates, 2 of the greatest ever, and then of course Peter Naron, who I thought would be one of the greatest. He was so good. This guy was so good.
Peter Pan, man, he was amazing. Lefty, so shifty. If he would have developed an outside shot, he would have been really one of the greats. He was just super contented in going 5, 10, 15 feet in. If he would have had something a little bit longer, man, I could have stopped. Guarding him, for me, was kind of like guarding Verhel. When he's coming at you, he's so shifty. He can go either direction. Galing talaga si Pedro, my boy. I'm also the ninong of his daughter, Zara.
Oh, really? Galing yan. Galing. He was really good, tall, and
he was.
Really... Wait, so there's a winner. There's a winner for your question, Mr. Vince Hizon. The first one was Mr. AC.
Dumantay.
AC, yes, that is correct.
That's correct. The one. So, AC, we need your details, my friend. Send them in our inbox on our Facebook page, so I can tell Vince where to send the Ginebra na jersey. Okay,
anywhere,
so that's correct.
Philippines, because if you live in like Saudi Arabia, baka mahirap.
We'll send it to a relative here, and then they can send it to you, right? Later on.
Right. Anyway,
and then, of course, they said that you played against InstaFood. It was InstaFood. That was your opponent.
I was right. It's one of the two. Okay, good.
Nice.
So, anyways, this was a big day, and I got to meet. I actually had already met Jerry, but it's the first time to meet Alvin. So it was a big day for me. A lot of things were happening, and
MVP na si ano dyan si Alvin
Yeah, MVP.
I remember when I was drafted, I looked over at the Ginebra table, and it was Coach Sonny and Bird Navarro, and they were kind of looking at each other like, "Now what? This was supposed to be our pick next." But they ended up picking Homer Ong, which actually, again, it worked out really well because after a year, I ended up going there anyway. So Wilmer was a vital cog, the Ongster.
Yeah.
So,
right. Yeah. He
So
knew
what was your first practice at Purefoods like, Vince?
First practice. Well, first of all, they didn't let us practice, because they're big on training and all that stuff. So they ended up sending us to the what's this? The Club Filipino, in Green Hills.
Yes.
And they had us doing like water exercises and all that stuff, and I'd never really done all that stuff, so I was kind of like, "What are we doing?" I thought we're on a basketball team here, but yeah, they love to do the alternative stuff. I mean, they were all sort of cutting edge. Purefoods has always been like that. So we did all of that, water training, and then we went to Reyes Gym and practice. So it was cool, though. I mean, I really learned a lot. I mean, it was a little bit of a culture shock because there's just so much happening. When you go from just being a simple college guy, all of a sudden, boom, you're thrust into not just the PBA, but one of the darling teams.
Yes, of course.
At that time, the dynamic tandem of Jerry and Alvin. So and Alvin who just crazy gets all of the the hype. Obviously, I mean, every time you go anywhere, it's like, wow, it's like this guy's a rock star. So it was fun. But again, the first practice it was light, but Coach Chat just sort of getting to know us, and we had a bunch of scrimmages. It wasn't really too difficult.
You're in Purefoods all of a sudden, and you're only there for a short while, a year. But who became your buddies on that team?
Oh, actually, all of them. I mean, I didn't really have any enemies on the team that I know of, except maybe one of the rest in our practices. So I never. Anyway, but yeah, I was cool with everyone. I mean, we had a solid squad. We had Olson Rosella, and Ray Evangelista. I mean, we were darn good. Bong Ravenna.
Yeah.
I'd say I was probably the closest to two guys. It'd probably be Bong and Frankie Lim, because we were in our very first trip. So yeah, I used to always mess with Frank because he was like sort of the elder statesman of the team. And
I was going to ask how that happened. Yeah, why the older guy? Why was he your buddy?
Well, we did say we're going to spill the beans, so I don't know. But yeah, I used to mess with Frank because, okay, this is 94, right? So I walk into the gym, and I'm one of those crazy guys that wearing a Walkman. You guys don't even have Walkmans anymore, but back then it was a Walkman. So Frank came over to me. He said, "Hey, Brooke, what are you listening to?" And I said, "You probably won't like it." He's like, "What is it?" I said, "It's rap music." And he made some comment about, you kids today, that's not music, that's noise, stuff like that. So my brain just, it was me, Bong, and Frank right there. And my brain just said, okay, let's go. Hey, Frank, when you joined the PBA, which Beatles song was number one? So from then on, it's our sort of inside joke, but I'm letting it out on Eternity of Basketball. We started to call Frank Ringo.
Okay, really? Okay.
Ringo, I passed me the ball, and he just looked at me like, "You're such a jerk."
He didn't punch you, Coach Frankie? Come on.
Actually, it was Bong. Somebody Bong. Look, ingat, baka he's gonna get you. But we just had a lot of fun, and we were all competitors. He's not one to back down, and I'm sure he's gonna do it.
But aside from Frankie Lim, you had a couple more veterans there. You had Abby King on that team, right? And Manny Victorino was there too, right? For a bit.
Yeah. They were in their sort of twilight in a sense, but again, we had fun with them. I just had fun watching them because they would battle each other. I mean, because they were fighting for playing time, against like Jerry and Alvin, so not a lot of time to be left. But those two would really go at it in practice, and they would make them chow even after the game in practice as well. So I'm just the fly on the wall watching them. Like, so this is how it's done when you get a little bit older.
And you were reunited with Richie Tixon.
Yeah. Yeah, again, it was a fun time. We had Richie. I always wanted to play with Olsen. I finally did. He should have saw those battles, Olsen and Richie going at it for playing time as well. I mean, there was a lot of things happening at the same time. Ray really emerged, Manilista. I mean, he was really big.
Yeah, that Purefoods team was really loaded. 94, he also won a title that year. But my question to you, and we asked this of all of our guests, is sinong nag-welcome sa'yo sa PBA?
My first game, you mean?
Yeah, your first hit.
Your first hit. Who said, "Okay, welcome."
Who knocked you down first, man?
Yeah.
Oh, that's easy. That destroyer, Rudy. Rudy D.
So this is Purefoods Ginebra, right? Purefoods Ginebra,
yeah. It's Swift na yata siya.
Swift na siya.
Sunkist, actually. He was Sunkist.
Correct. Yeah.
But, in fact, I told him about this a couple of years ago. He doesn't even remember it. But for me, it was this morning. I still remember. Kasi, when we played against Sunkist, it was at Cuneta, and these guys were warning me, ingat, baka, he's going to play a little, do a little something. So watch yourself. I go, okay. So I had that sort of watch myself mentality going into the game. And I'll never forget the first time we got put on an island, and it was 1-on-1. He made a move and went baseline. And in one movement, I still, up to now, don't know how he did it, ended up going up, getting the foul off of me, making the shot, and kicking me in the unmentionables. And I was called for a foul. I just got out. Galing to Skill. I got the
what a guy.
Points, and he got the dig-ins. Grab it. And I asked him about it. He's like,
of course, he probably didn't remember that you're just like one of many that he used that move on. But did it hurt? I suppose it hurt.
Of course. My voice went up like 2 octaves. I was sounding like Mickey Mouse already. So.
That's a great Distritos. Of course, you're not gonna remember. Come on, man. No way he'd remember something simple like that. No.
Like I said, for me, I could tell you like everything about it. I remember it's one of those life-changing moments.
What's the next photo? In our slide. So, okay, here you are in action. Coney Island ice cream, a deeper reason for Vince Hizon. Wow. I wonder what that's about.
Yeah,
remember this? Getting on the cover, getting interviewed for Sports
Weekly. Yeah,
Sports
the premier sports magazine back in the day.
Right.
Yeah, that was good. So that was a good time. This was kind of right after coming back from our Guam trip, which I did really well because like right after we were drafted, we were all sent to Guam for like a sort of pocket mini tournament thing. I think it was Shell, Alaska, Purefoods, and Santa Lucia who went. So 4 teams. Anyways, did well, and then I had this interview, and I think they were asking me a lot of like philosophical questions. I just came from Ateneo, so my philosophy was kind of up there. But so it was more like why do you want to play? And I said for me this is just fulfillment of a dream, and I just want to see where it takes me. And I think that's kind of the reason why they made that. Aside from it kind of rhyming, reason for season.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's a
you changed your jersey number to 25. You were number 4 back in Ateneo. I don't know what you wore back before that when you were in the States. Is there a reason for 25?
No, not at all. Never was 25 before, and I wanted 12 to be honest, but Glenn Capascio had it,
right?
So I couldn't displace the vet. The number 1 defensive guy on our team. I wasn't going to kick him off his number, even if I wanted to. I couldn't, so I had to switch for.
Right.
Yeah,
I think
Vince,
I remember somebody said 4 as well. So I just kind of found my number.
yeah. When you were in college, of course, you were a knockdown shooter. You had that very quick release. But how much of an adjustment did you have to make when you got to the PBA? And the defenders were really in your face, and the referees let them do a lot more physically.
Um, I actually liked it. I liked the adjustment. At first, obviously, you're overwhelmed because the TVs and the crowd and all that stuff, and that usually takes a conference or two to kind of overcome. But as time goes by, you kind of settle into things. You just kind of go back to what you've learned. And I was always kind of a guy who likes to shoot, you know, off the kick out. That was kind of like my thing. Not really much off the dribble. So I would just go with the flow, and it just worked out really well for me. Purefoods actually. So, throw it down to Jerry or Alvin, automatic double team comes, right? So somebody's open, and that's where I kind of did my thing. When I got to Ginebra, I had to learn how to do it more off the dribble, especially my first year, and until Marlu came, and that's kind of where I did much better. Obviously, when they have a mismatch inside, I usually do much better. So that's my thing. I think I kind of started to improve more towards my second, third year more than my first. First, it was just the adjustment.
Right. Okay. What's the next photo, Carla?
Carla.
So this is what happened. You're 1 year in Purefood. It's a glamour team, lots of fans, but then you transfer. You actually traded, right, Vince? You were traded to Ginebra
For Nonoy Chotica.
for Nonoy.
Nonoy and a second pick, which I guess ended up being Reyes from UST.
Edmund. Edmund Reyes. Okay.
Ended up being Edmund and Nonoy for me. But again, it was a sort of tumultuous time. Ginebra, when I got there, was kind of having some problem getting some W's. It was kind of like the down years. But I kind of look at it like this. If I was a surfer, I caught the wave as it was starting to take off, and I rode it the whole way. So that was really fun. We already had, Noli Luxin, we had a pretty solid inside, and
correct.
Pido, who was doing his thing, Rancho. But it's just a couple missing pieces, and good fun. Got to play.
No, but I wanna ask about the anatomy of a trade like that. I mean, were you informed prior that, hey, Vince, we're shipping you to Ginebra? How did that transpire?
Secret.
Akala ko spill the beans tayo, including the pork.
I mean, okay, because I was still best friends with Dodot, right? So they would ask me, hey, what's happening with you? Right? Dodot hadn't yet joined the PBA. He was still in the Ateneo. So, we'd still see each other a lot. So he goes, my dad's asking, what's happening with you? How come they're not playing you? I'm like, why, your dad doesn't play me more? He goes, maybe. So anyways, but I what I wanted to do was be professional about it. So I finished my my contract, of course, with Purefoods. I made sure that I did my best, and we ended up winning a championship with Kenny Redfield. So that was a lot of fun, and I gradually improved as time went on, and I got used to the strength, the physicality, the speed of the professional game. But when my contract was up, I never really had an agent at that point. I said, I'm listening. You guys got something to say. So I waited till Purefoods actually gave me an offer. And then I said, Dot, let me talk to your dad. So then that's when it happened. So he's the one after that sort of took the Cardinals, and he called Purefoods, or his people did. I don't know if it was him directly.
Okay.
So that's how it kind of started. Made sure that it was done right. And apparently Purefoods was asking for a lot. From what coach told me, he gave them a list of players that they could sort of choose from for me. And he said, everybody except Pido Horencho, who was the team captain at that time. And he said, when Purefoods went back initially, they wanted Pido Horencho. So he's like, kapal niya. Anyway, that was him back in those days. So yeah, it was fun. And I was just so happy to be given sort of the reins were taken off. I could run. You know what I mean? I was free to do a lot of things. And I'm not saying I was good. I had to learn a lot, especially it's a lot of responsibility as well, right? So a lot of learning, a lot of maturing that I had to do early on.
I'm looking at the form of the jump shot. We had an Ateneo picture earlier, same jump shot as
Same.
well,
Yeah.
and right? So you got that form down right. Of course, on the right side, there you are. Jaworski's saying something to you. I think it's a bit of advice. I don't think he's cursing you out on this play, but you already shared with us during the Usapang Jawo episode a lot of stories about Coach Sonny. But now that you're finally with him, you've transferred from Purefoods, and he's there. He's in your face every day. Did the relationship change because he was your Tito Sonny before? I mean, because he's the dad of your buddy. All of a sudden now he's the coach, and did that change? How are the dynamics between the two of you?
No, in fact, I think it deepened because he kind of always acted like a father figure to not just me but to everybody around him. So I mean, if you ask anybody when they say Ginebra, it's like the family, right? I mean, he's like that guy, and all of us are like brothers and sisters and whatever to each other. Everybody involved in the team, so it's really a family atmosphere. And when I got to play for him, I mean, he would do it in a I call it an NSD way. He was nurturing, self. You actualize. He pushes you to reach your potential, and because of that, you're determined to do whatever he wants. And because I've always said this, because he invests so much time into everybody. Like he's not like some pro coaches. They couldn't care less what you do outside of the basketball court. I won't say who, but there's some they don't want to know. They don't care what your family doing, what's your business like, or anything else. But coach was always asking, like some people even sort of make a little joke out of it because they know it's coming. They'll always ask, "Oh, how's your family?" And he's really sincere about it, right? I mean, "Oh, kumusta yung pamilya mo?" "Oh, okay. Oh, how's your dad?" And he remembers stuff. "How's your dad? How's your mom?" He remembers those things. "Okay, how is that thing?" So he invests effort and time to get to know and to understand everybody. And so when it came time where he's asking something from us, like, guys, you got to give your best effort, it was just so natural because he invested that time into us. The least we could do is go to war for him. And that's what we did. And that's why I think we really reached higher than most people expected because we overachieved. Because again, in all of his big championships, he didn't have exactly all the name players, right? I mean, he really made the best out of what he had, and that's I think a lot of it is because just like in this picture, he'll talk to you and say, "You can do it." He gives you I mean, this is a living legend telling you what you should do. I mean, you got to listen, right? You got to if he believes in you, why don't you believe in yourself? You know what I mean? So he would always put you in that direction.
Galing,
Vince,
you go.
No, you mentioned this on the Usapang Jawo episode. You said you were lucky to have played with Alvin Patrimonio and then Sonny Jaworski because you learned firsthand how to deal with fans, right? Because both of them are like really magnets for fans, right? But I imagine, I imagine the level for fandom for Coach Sonny was just on another level.
Wow. If I thought Alvin was huge, I mean, it's just like going from the penthouse to the rooftop. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, do that. I mean, Coach just had such an amazing following, and we're talking all walks of life. It didn't matter, and Coach has had this magnetism and this way of getting people to all think that they're the only one in the room. He just he'll talk to anybody. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're the richest guy in the room or the poorest. He'll really make an effort. So, I mean, that was really the charisma that Coach Jaworski brought, and I learned so much. My goodness, and especially about the effort that you have to have, especially if you're with him and on one of his teams. I mean, because he realized the fans are really what makes the team, and you have to make time for them and make that effort. If they're gonna take a bus or a train or a tricycle and all these things just to come see us, the least we could do is reciprocate and give them the time and sign whatever they want to sign and take pictures of whatever. That's something I'll definitely remember about Coach.
So we still see that now. You do talk to the fans until now, Vince, when we're at the Coliseum or the arena for the games. But I'm gonna get ahead of this, because we're talking about Jaworski. Granted, he's the most popular player. There's no doubt about that. Malayo, di ba? But for you, Vince, until now you're still covering the games. Who's the best PBA player?
Best in terms of what?
The best. Who's the best? For you, who's the greatest PBA player from the time you started watching till now?
Best. Well, local, not imports.
You can hit us with an import too later on.
I'll still say, Coach, for the effect on the fans. Grabe. The effect on the fans was different. I mean, if you look at it now, I mean, he hasn't been coaching since '99, right? I mean, but the whole NSD thing is still there. I mean, I was at the game the other day, at the Philippine Arena with the 54, thousand, almost 55,000 people, and they're still talking about Ginebra, NSD, and he's the guy who started it all. So, I mean, if you talk about effect on the league, definitely the best, Coach Jaworski. Skill-wise, I mean, there were some different things. Different guys had different skills. I could name, guys, honorable mention. I mean, I'd go by every position if you want. I mean, I'd probably have to throw in like a Junmar and a Johnny A and a Baldovin and a Verhel and so many other guys. No, I mean, at their different positions, they were all extremely good. Of course, Alvin is right up there too, and Ramon Fernandez. But when it comes to, for me, the greatest effect on the league, definitely Coach. No question.
Yeah. Okay, what's the next photo? I think this is the last photo for this half of Time Capsule. Let's show it. Yeah, you're winning. This is probably after the 1997 championship, that you guys won. You said you overachieved, because of your desire to help and to please Coach Shani, and you did win this. A fan was asking earlier if we could have a photo of you blocking Dindo Pumaren's shot in Game 5. We could not find a photo of that. But can you take us through that, Vince? What was going on? I mean, this guy's the fastest guy in the league. He gets the ball. How are you? I mean, you said you ran back then, but you weren't a sprinter. How did you get there?
Okay, so that, I think we're up by 1 at that point. And the play was designed inbounds and half court. And long story short, I messed up. I really screwed up. I bobbled the ball, and Dindo stole it, and he was going in for the W because I think we were only up by 1, and there was still like 3 or 4 seconds to go or something. So my mind automatically switched. I'm in so much trouble if they beat us because I turned the ball over. So I said to myself, you better do something. I mean, I always talk about this. I do a lot of public speaking. I said, for me, that was my moment of truth. Because I could have either sat down on the ground and said, what an idiot I am, and just cried. Or make the decision to do something about it. And that's what I did. So I just went down. I mean, I call it a leap of faith. It's the highest and the farthest I've ever jumped, I think, in my life. Because the adrenaline just hit. And I took off. If you look at the pictures, go through the video, I think I have it somewhere, but I took off from about the bottom of the circle, and I hit my elbow on the backboard. So I was up there. I don't know exactly how high, but I was up there and just caught it the last second. And yeah, and I had a really bad fall coming down. But again, it all started because I messed up. I turned the darn ball over. Like, oh man, I can't let down my team. I can't let down my coach. So I got to do something. So that's kind of really where my mind was.
So there you are celebrating with the rest of the guys. Baldovid, I see Harencio. Who's the big fellow on the left?
Is that Benny Cheng?
Benito. That's on the left. Benito.
Yeah.
Benny Cheng,
Yeah.
Special
Benny
time.
Cheng with Marlo at the back. and of course the fans storming the court again. Still no difference. I mean, they got to keep the crowd out of the out of the court, man. It gets crazy there afterwards. But you guys, you bask in that. The Ginebra players love that. The other night as well in Philippine Arena, it was a bit of the same.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a championship. You win. So a team that's not supposed to be winning wins a championship. So at least there you go. You have your second championship as a PBA player on your second team, and then you play a couple of more years with Ginebra. And so that takes us to our midterm break on our time capsule, Carla. Just to remind everyone that we're part of the Globally Ballin Network. Next Man Up is one of the shows on the network. Check that out with Diego and Jello. And Diego, of course, is back in the PBA. So I don't know if he can still host that. Maybe he can find time at night. But watch Next Man Up on the Globally Ballin Network. Okay, what's next? Okay, watch and listen to us on Spotify. Send us some love. Rate us on Spotify with a 5-star rating, please. 5 stars, please, for AEOB. And then become an AEOB podcast monthly supporter for $4.99 or 250 pesos, and we will recognize you on our future episodes. This is on Spotify, guys. And then Globally Ballin Southeast Asia Facebook page. Follow that. All the little tidbits of all the shows on the network. We will have that. We'll be showing that on the Globally Ballin Southeast Asia Facebook page. Okay, let's get back to the action. Sid Ventura has abandoned us for a bit. Just a quick break for him. But tuloy natin yung time capsule, Carla. No? Of course, second half of time capsule still brought to us by Fitbit. Feel the power. And Fitbit, of course, does more than just tell you how many steps you've taken in a certain day. You can. It helps everyone in the world get healthier, from counting your steps to giving personalized insights on your heart rate and sleep patterns. Log your exercise and access great tools and content on the Fitbit Premium, all on Fitbit platform. Check out their line of products on Fitbit.com. Okay, first photo of the second half. This is you, and this is 1997. Who would have thunk it that there you are amongst the other four who made it to the mythical team of 1997. You're the first team. You're one of the best. You're top 5, Mr. Hizon, in the PBA with these greats: Asaitono, Patrimonio, Marlo Aquino, Johnny Abarrientos. They are among the 40 greatest already. And there you are, right with them. How did that feel?
I'm part of the 400 greatest. That's good. How did it feel? Felt amazing. Obviously, kind of unexpected at first. But then I realized, we really had a good year. And I did personally I exceeded my expectations. So, again, the team was doing well. I was personally having a sort of a career, breakout time. And, again, all the pieces just fit. I had really great teammates, and I could rely on them to give me the ball when I needed it, and they knew I'd get them in the ball. At the shooting guard, I actually, if you can look back, I averaged more assists than our point guards, which means I'm distributing. So I really felt I was helping the team in a lot of ways. Still had some obvious things to work on. My defense was never great, but I was still working on it. So, yeah. Good time.
Well, one thing I noticed is that I forgot that they were actually called the Purefoods Carne Norte.
Carne Norte.
Beefies. I forgot about the beefies. No, it says Carne Norte beefies is what they were called. So, wow. Yeah, this is the first time I forgot about that. So, yeah, but you're with the greats.
It used to be, I think before this, it was corned beef cowboys, and, the coaching staff were wearing these vests, right?
Yep.
During games.
Yeah,
I probably didn't
with the checkered shirts, right? With the
checkered shirts. So they wanted to look like cowboys. So I guess
kulang na lang yung cowboy hat talaga. Was this a peak? Is this the peak of your PBA career? Was this the peak for you? Definitely. The pinnacle.
First of all, I'm glad they didn't dress us up to look like pigs, like boars. So anyway, definitely. This is the time I really took off. The star was just way high, and I didn't realize how big it got. All these surveys were coming in, all these things were happening, and I was getting offers to do so many other things like TV shows and advertisements and all this other stuff. So I was just like, wow. And it's a great time. I'm not going to deny it. Like everything just came together. I mean, it was like biblical. Like everything consolidated, and all of the seas parted, and everything was just amazing during that time.
Did you ever do movies?
Offered, but
TV
never.
shows?
Uh,
You never did. Okay.
During that time, I was offered. Could have been a Regal baby, but
Uh-huh.
I said,
I was going to
focus.
ask. Yeah.
There was I still, in fact, I was going through some papers. I found the concept paper. It was a love triangle with Rufo Gutierrez and somebody else, and they were offering me $1 million to do it. And I said, nah, not gonna happen. Now, if you tell me to do it, no, I was kidding.
I'm sure they were bugging you like anything
Yeah,
constantly to
but
be on the TV and.
I just wanted to focus. But recently, I've done a couple. I've made some cameos for some Christian-based movies, but that's pretty much it. There's some good times.
Yeah, and then of course you're doing product endorsements and all of that now. But
during that time, no, I wasn't artsy, I guess you could say.
in '98, no wins, not. But you guys didn't place well again after winning a championship in '97, and then all of a sudden, this is you. Yeah, this is you, pare. Diba? As Coach Sunny would say, you're suddenly with the Iloilo Volts in the NBA. What's the story? Everyone wants to know.
Okay, Megavolts. Okay, there's a lot of funny stories out there, and a lot of people have said some things that I was like, that's not the truth at all. But anyways, so here's the story. Anyways, we got another hour. No, just kidding.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so I when I went to Ginebra, my contract was pretty good. I'm not complaining at all. But on my renewal after 2 years, Coach Jaworski said, Vince, you're playing very well. I'm not going to discredit you. You're doing amazing. And this is the time, Jola signed a big contract. Cariaso signed a big one. And someone Kabahug signed a big one. So all these shooting guards, were making really big amounts. But Coach Jaworski asked me if it's possible, because he needs some budget to clear some budget to go after, a center and a point guard, right? So, and his question to me was, "Do you want to win?" And I said, "Absolutely, Coach, I want to win." So he goes, "If you can do me this favor, I'll give you, a small little increase, but you do well personally, and the team does well." And you do those two things, I will negotiate your contract personally, even if I have to go all the way up to San Miguel. I said, without even thinking, I said, go, let's do it. I will work double hard. I want our team to win. So that's what happened. The times that, you go back to that mythical 5 picture, all those guys are making a huge amount. I was making not even half probably of what they were making. So, again, I wasn't complaining. I was getting a lot of money anyways from the endorsements and all that stuff. But basketball wise, there was kind of a disparity. So, I was in the back of my mind, work hard, do well individually to make the team win. Things are going to happen. So fast forward, now we're getting into 98. This is sort of the middle of it. Basically I could hear certain things in the back. That I'm going to get an offer, but this time the offer is not going to come from Coach Jaworski. It's going to come from La Tondena and San Miguel. I go, okay, so I'll wait. So I waited, and to make a long story short, again, I'm trying to be as concise as I can because I really could keep you here for an hour. I said I just want to have the offer in writing, and that's it. I want to have it as something official. And right after that, that's when the whole thing where Coach Jaworski resigned, right?
Mm.
And then in the same breath, Doda resigned, right? So I was like, wow, here's the guy who was going to personally negotiate my contract, which was super under, right, compared to those other guys. Now he's resigned and gone. He's senator already. So again, he's got bigger and better things to do anyways. And now they kind of broke up the family, because that's our tata and this is my brother, like my best friend, right? So I was thinking, what's going on here? So that made me think, I got to keep my options open. So I definitely did that. So what I did first of all is I went back to PBA. I went to Commissioner Bernardino, and I said, I haven't received an official written offer, and he hooked me up at that time to go meet with the owner of Santa Lucia, which was XC Robles, super super nice guy, and Buddy Encarnado. And they met me. They're so gracious, and I showed them something that I had received from the ABS-CBN MBA group, and it was quite substantial. And I said, if you guys can match this, I'm staying in the PBA. And I'll never forget the words of Buddy Encarnado when he said, Vince, if I give you the same terms that you're going to get in this contract with our, here at Santa Lucia, you'll have my job too. so, so, so I said, so is this a good offer? He goes, it's a very good offer, and you'd be a fool not to take it. So that kind of made up my mind for me, because I tried to stay in the PBA. I tried to stay in Ginebra, but it just wasn't aligned. The stars stopped being aligned, and then other factors also came in. I was already with ABS at the time for my TV show for Sports Unlimited. So yeah, so they were the ones really pushing it, and they came out with that offer they knew it was bigger than the PBA's salary cap, and they guaranteed this, that, and I said, okay, so now I have this official written offer, which I didn't get from the other team. Let's go. That's how it happened in a nutshell. Of course, there was some other curves in the road, but that's basically it. But I always made sure. This has always been, I guess you could say, my style. Don't burn your bridges, and I didn't. I actually met with Mr. Kwanko, and I just basically wanted to tell him, I'm not leaving because of any bad terms or any bad things that happened. I'm just leaving at this point because this offer is just, too big to turn down. And yeah, so again, I look at it like this. I went from being sort of an underpaid, in a sense, mythical five guy, to getting at that point the biggest contract in the country. And actually, it was even bigger than most people understand. But and I don't like to get in numbers. You can Google it. But yeah, it was pretty substantial. And and it just shows you that even after my MBA days were over, I was still invited to come back and play with San Miguel for the All Stars. So I really didn't burn those bridges, and I made sure that everybody happy, everybody friends, because it's a small world, especially even basketball world. Not a lot of a lot of big players. But, I super respect of course the San Miguel group, and I have to mention a special shout out to boss XC Robles for really taking the time to meet with me. I mean, how many times do you get to meet with the owners of PBA teams? It's pretty rare, but he really made the time. So, I super appreciate that too.
Yeah, NBA obviously wanted to market you as the face of the league, one of the faces of the league. So they made sure you were on these posters, on the right side and all of that. But so 2 years you're there. The maybe you were there was some time you missed some time as well when you were with Iloilo, Vince.
It was there's just so much happening, and I think I look back and I say in one way I kind of overextended myself in the sense that I was still trying to do the TV show at the same time as playing, but the traveling the Iloilo Megavolts was taking me time away, and they actually changed the format of the TV show, the Sports Unlimited, and it went from being a studio-based shooting or recording to being everywhere else. So I would be in certain places like there. I'll never forget. There was one particular day where I had to do a shoot in Laguna, and I had to be out there by sunrise. So I left my house at like 3:00. Right, I went out. I did shooting the entire day. We're supposed to end at 12, and you know how things go. Something always happens. You're always delayed or whatever. So end up leaving probably around 2:30. Came flying back. I think I broke every speed law along SLEX, and we had practice at 5:00 at FEU, and I got there, and everybody looking at me. They're like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I'm tired. I've been up since 3 o'clock in the morning. Been shooting from 6 to like 1, and then 1:30, and then I just put on the afterburners to get here. So I mean, I don't think it helped me. I think it maybe even hurt me. That's why I ended up stopped doing the show. But prior to that, I ended up getting an injury, so I ended up having a surgery on my foot, and but I came back from that pretty quickly. But then I had a bad accident, and I'll say it that way, Saja accident maybe, where in a game I was upended and I landed on my shoulder, and this was the bad one. This actually was really bad. The doctor said it's probably the worst shoulder injury he's seen, even way worse than even Samboy. Samboy's most
this.
I said his was bad. Mine was worse because my bone here was like in 7 pieces, and my shoulder literally was down here. So they literally had to like bring it back up, shove it in there, and tie it off, and so many other things. So it was a long road to get back from that, but I did. So that's why I kind of, in some senses, feel bad. I wish things could have been different. I wish I would have been healthier, and all those things would have been different. We had a great squad, the Megavolts, man. We were balling, but I just couldn't help it. I never was. I don't think, except maybe for like the first 5 or 6 games, I never was healthy 100% when I played there.
Right. And you guys, the fans loved you guys because you had you, Joey Santa Maria, there's Dominic Uy, Judge Primero, and all these guys, and so the fans were like, "Woo, yeah!" Aside from good players,
and the most guapo, Dong Polistico.
the late Dong Polistico. That's right. Right.
Yeah.
But it was great also for you to be there in the NBA because you got an opportunity to play for the national team while you were with the NBA. You play on the SEA Games squad. You win a medal. Jones Cup, you don't win because you get into a big fight, a big brawl, which is all over internet if you look at it. So that never ended. The late Joey Mente was in the middle of all of that, of course. So lots of experiences. You didn't get to play too much in the league itself, but then you get to play for the RPT, man. I'm sure that was fun too. Is that the next photo? What's the next photo, Carla? Can we move on?
Yeah.
There you go. Philippine team. There you go.
There you go. So we had a good time there. Again, our coach at the time was Boise Zamar, who was my teammate before in Burger Machine. Now he's
Burger Machine,
we really had I think a very solid squad. We had a Duco that's there.
Is that Chito Victorero on the
front row? Yeah, front left. Yeah.
Trola, we got Chris Calagio.
Those are the stars, man.
Robin Padilla. Padilla.
Oni Padilla.
Oni
Padilla.
Homer Say.
Yeah.
Mandy Rodriguez. So many good.
Peter Martin. Peter Martin.
We had a squad.
Was this for Jones Cup or SEA Games? This Rexona
team.
And
SEA Games. SEA
Games. Because the Jones Cup was really Iloilo Volts, right?
Yeah.
The club.
That was Mari.
Mari Kuna. My uncle was the manager of that Iloilo Volts team when they got into the big Jones Cup. So you see him. Yeah, they threw a water bottle at him. He threw it right back.
Yeah, there you go. It was crazy times. But anyways, that's another story. But
Chavez, that's the Chavez, right? Oh no, who's?
Yeah,
no,
yes.
Chavez. Is it? Okay.
Yeah, he's point guard. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Eddie Laure. These some of the best from the NBA are there. No, Adukol, Ferriols, Eddie Laure. Imagine those guys were MVPs.
Yeah, we had a squad.
Who's the number 5 guy on the front, Vince? The guy beside Chris Calagio.
5? I think he played for Purefoods. I can't remember exactly. Sorry.
Sid, you can't identify number 5 there on the front.
I can't. He looks familiar, but
I'm sure one of the fans will. Yeah, one of the fans can do that for us.
Yeah, but anyways, that was such an honor, and to play for the national team, representing the country was something, and that was the time wala pang SBP, everything wasn't super organized. In fact, I'll just say it, we were kind of dragged into the middle of a turf war. One was saying no, you're playing for us, the other was saying no, you're playing for us, and we're like, we just want to play, whatever it is, we want to play for the team. So again, I look at it as, very good experience. Learned a lot about how, some things are and some things could be improved, even with our NSAs and all that stuff. So,
Right, right, right. You got injured in that Jones Cup, the big fight. You got a cut or something. Was that yours at Dominic
that was
who got
Dominic.
cut?
Dominic
Oh, it's
had
Dominic. Okay.
stitches.
Of
I
course,
just, of
Rafa Dinglasan was with you there. The late Rafa
course,
Dinglasan. We're talking about guys who've left us already.
Rafa D. Yeah.
Yeah,
Darn
the
COVID.
enforcer.
COVID. Darn
The
COVID.
enforcer.
In
Yeah, but
case you're wondering, Patricia, your wife has a message for you. She says that your son is playing well so far.
oh, thanks.
That's Paulie. Paulie's playing, right?
My son he's 15. He's in a what they call 8-to-8 team, and it's kind of like a club team. So he's got a game. I'm missing that so I can be on eternity of basketball.
Wow. Okay, now you're
Wow,
making
thanks
us
so
feel
much.
guilty.
Good
Yeah.
eternity of basketball.
Look who's watching. Look who's watching. Coach AV. Huh? You're
What
his
up,
idol
Coach?
in basketball and golf. Nice
Hey,
win. Nice win, by the way.
Nice win last night.
Water.
Yeah, Coach AV.
yeah, nice interview after post game as well.
So we talk about national teams. So imagine, so you've done everything in that short span of time. You've come to the Philippines. You've played for the
Yeah.
Ateneo. You won a championship. Purefoods, Ginebra. You play for the national team. You win a gold medal. And then next photo, please, Carla.
Well, yeah, you have to explain this, Vince. Yeah.
And then you're the centerfold for Cosmopolitan magazine. How
Yes.
amazing is that? I think this is the crowning achievement over all of that. I think.
There's
What do you guys think?
my abs. That thing abs name ab. Okay, how did that happen? Actually, Cosmopolitan magazine called me up and they said, "Hey, you won." I said, "Won what?" They said, "You have the most votes for most eligible bachelor." And I said, "So what am I supposed to do with that?" They're like, "Oh, well, it's an honor. You should be on our cover and all this stuff." I'm like, maybe. So again, not being on the artsy side of things. I mean, some people are really good at that. I'm kind of shy to do these things, but they said, "All right." So I just wore the shirt, and like in the middle, they're like, "Can you just open it?" I'm like, so that's a nervous kind
Jeff
of.
the shirt. Okay, leave those jeans.
Yeah.
But the
Hey,
buttons off. Is it the
Yeah, but
button off?
the
No.
button's off. Yeah, it is.
oh my gosh, I didn't even notice that. You guys noticed the weirdest stuff. It's terrible.
We need to scrutinize the photos before we put them on, right? So
At least there's my evidence to my kids. 1 year, a long time ago, I had abs.
sexy daddy.
Yeah, well, gotta do what you gotta do.
So
But
who
I
was your
thought-
girlfriend at this time?
What
Am
year
I
is
supposed
this?
to ask that? Can I ask that?
Yeah, go ahead.
2002,
Yes.
I think.
So I think this is like right at the tail end of my ex-girlfriend.
Oh, okay. Right.
Let's leave it at that.
Girlfriends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, I'm not gonna put Vince on the spot. He's already on the spot. So.
Well, my wife's listening anyways, and they're friends, so it would have been Tony Lavista.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
of
Yeah.
course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Came from you. At least it came from you.
We went out for
Yeah.
5 years, and then 2002.
Huh.
Yeah.
Who
We broke up.
hosted this event? She's asking. Patricia was asking who hosted this event. It must have been
Oh,
her,
that's
right?
right. My wife was the host of that.
Okay.
There you go.
Those were the starts of all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talaga she's listening. Ha? Patring, talaga nakatutok ka. Ha? You're listening to everything your husband is saying. Ha?
Hey, look at my shirt. Does
I know.
nostalgia.
Yeah.
Time
Hi,
capsule.
Patring. We haven't seen each other in a long time, by the way. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tagal
Yeah.
na
But
natin
then
ginagawa.
after you were named Cosmopolitan's #1 centerfold, Vince, you went back to the States to play pro ball there, right? With the Pennsylvania, or did you play first with Red Bull?
Red Bull. Played with
Red Bull
yeah.
first. Yeah.
Yeah, Red Bull.
So
Yeah.
after MBA, I went back to Red Bull, where we won another 2 championships on an amazing team as well. And after that, then I got the offer to go play for the Pennsylvania Valley Dogs in the USBL. Yo.
Yeah.
So there's our squad. Look at those guys.
Yeah.
I learned so much there. Grabe. The one who ran the team was the guy who recruited for Ginebra, Sam Munera.
Salmonera,
Very,
yeah.
Right.
very close, very close with Coach Jaworski. So he asked me if I wanted to come back. I said, "What the heck? Let's give it a try." And we ended up winning the championship. So technically, we're U.S. national champions of the USBL. Uh, that was the rival of the CBA, and then this kind of morphed into the G League. So most of these guys either played in the G League afterwards. Some of them came to the PBA for to be imports and stuff like that. We had Marcus Wheeler, I think he played for Red Bull, and some other. A lot of these guys played for. These are all NBA guys. Like top left played for, I think 76ers. I think the guy on the right, White, he played for the Clippers. I mean, all these guys had like 10-day contracts or were on. So I mean, that's the level that it was. It was phenomenal. I'm sad in a sense. I caught that, and all that learning was at the end of my career.
Right,
If
right.
I had known half of the stuff I learned, my goodness, would have been a different story too. But
But
anyway,
you didn't go there alone, right? Didn't you go there with Bong Alvarez? Were you guys
yeah,
together there?
I went with my wife, but Bong was
Okay.
there.
Okay.
But
All
I
right.
was
All right.
Bong and I went against together, and I was fielded in first, so I'm still technically the first Filipino to play professionally in the U.S. Bong came in like the next quarter, so but anyways, so yeah, it was fun. Again, the
And
competition was phenomenal. Our coach was Coach Daryl Dawkins, who's the
Double
yeah,
D, yeah.
Chocolate
chocolate.
Thunder.
He used to break all
Yeah,
the backboards, so cool. And the mindset. A lot of these guys, we're talking like inner city LA, inner city New York. These guys are just ballers straight through, and they're willing to go to war for the game. So again, learned a lot there.
this was also the time when this basketball shorts were like below the knee line, right? Look at that kid on the left side.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 inches below the knee line.
The,
Did
the,
you also wear your shorts like that back then?
the two kids on the left are the sons of Sam Monera, by the way, just letting you know. But the guy
Hmm.
who's holding, by the way, the banner, the blue
Mhm.
shirt, he's one of the
Uh-huh.
scouts for the Denver Nuggets.
Okay.
So I mean, again, so many things that were happening there. But yeah, the style was different. Obviously, this was
Mhm.
sort of the end one days.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah,
That's right. That's right.
street
early,
ball.
early 2000s. Yeah,
So
very
yeah,
long
that was
shorts.
great times. And I remember this picture. This was in front of our hotel right as we got back. So we took this picture. The dogs was up. Oh, but
Hmm.
just to let you know, all those uniforms made in the Philippines.
Oh, really? Oh, imported from the Philippines pala yan, ah.
Imported to Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Well, was that your last experience as a actual pro player? Was with Pennsylvania? After that, you retired.
Yeah, pretty much. I made an attempt to see if I could come back, maybe, but like right in the middle of everything, and I was playing very well. I broke my foot, had a fracture, and then I kind
Okay.
of said to myself, "I'm done. This is it. This is my body starting to say
But you never left.
farewell."
Yeah, but you never left basketball, Vince. I mean, you've always been around. You've
Hmm.
participated in so many different capacities. Aside from being a player, you've become a coach as well. You've coached at the collegiate level. Adamson, Blackwater, you were there as well. We used to chat all the time. You're on the panel now. Then you even became a commissioner of
Yeah.
the Phil Basket, and we worked with you there, Vince. Remember, we used to go to that stadium in Marikina and whatever.
Mm.
And so how was that as a commissioner? All of a sudden, you're the guy who's policing everybody.
Well, again, a different responsibility, totally, and different perspective you have to have because you're looking out for every little technical issue as well. So from the production side to the game side to the referees to dealing with the LGUs and the private companies. I mean, there was just a lot to handle. But I'd like to think we did it pretty well. Again, we're a grassroots in a nonprofit organization. So again, it was really for a passion project, love of the game, and we did our thing. We had a lot of fun. I always tell people that I think a lot of the modern day MPBL that we have with Manny Pacquiao, a lot of the styles that we were doing for FBA or Phil Sports, they kind of adopted into the MPBL. So as far as the production side goes, so I said, hey, we did something right, obviously, and we've had some great success there.
Right, and UP actually won a championship with Phil Sports.
Yes, and a lot of them even say, like I was talking like Mikey Reyes and Manuel and those guys. They're like, this is FBA is where it started. Like that whole mindset that kaya pala, we can do it. It's possible. So they said when they won that championship, they're like, hey guys, this is where it starts. You can't just build a house without just putting bricks down first. You got to keep putting on those bricks until you get up to the top.
Right.
That's what they did. Now they're amazing.
That's right. The Valley Dogs. How was Daryl Dawkins? Can you talk about Daryl Dawkins?
Yeah. I was about to ask. Yeah.
Okay, Daryl Dawkins.
I met him twice too, so he's a fun guy.
He was hilarious when he was off the court, but when he steps across the line, he is a different animal. He is super hard, and I'm not saying that in sometimes the nice way. He'll go right at you. He just will curse at guys and say, "What the heck is wrong with you? You got to do better." Da, da, da. And the one thing I will remember about our practices is they would generally put garbage cans at the four corners of the court, like outside, of course, but at the forecourt. So I remember the first day I walk out, I'm like, what are these garbage cans for? You got a garbage issue here? He goes, someone's thrown up today. So that's how hard he was pushing us. Again, the training, the way that they ran us, the way they made us do sprints, totally different level. Totally. I mean, and I was already, I thought, in pretty decent shape. But after the first day, I literally just went back to the room and just crashed. I was like, man, that's hard. That's so difficult.
Did he make you play some point guard, or were you a 2-3?
Yeah, point and shooting. But we had this guy, Mook Thomas. These guys are like heroes back in their place in Brooklyn and in New York. So these guys are amazing one-on-one guys. So again, I went back to what I did best, was just make my shots off the kickoff. And when you got guards like that, I mean, yeah, they're going to get you the ball. And these are all guys who played at Georgetown, Kansas, Temple. I mean, huge schools, Rutgers. I mean, not small schools. So I just felt really honored to be in the presence of them, number one, but to actually compete. And I thought I was competing pretty well on the same level when I was in there. Just it really had a lot of fun.
And you still play. You still play nowadays. You go with the former PBA players who travel all around the world and all around the country. And then you had this tournament when they brought in the old Purefoods, Alaska, San Miguel, and Ginebra guys. And there you are with your boys.
Yes, good times. Again, we're getting older, a little slower, but we're still having fun together. I mean, again, the chemistry, that's what shows you about what we had. I mean, all these guys I consider as really good friends, and we still contact each other if we need anything or whatever. So again, that just shows you the brotherhood. Sort of, I won't say in a certain sense a fraternity, but not really a fraternity. To have, it's like a family. It's really a family. So, I still talk to these guys regularly.
And everyone's in good shape, at least in that photo. Wala pa masyadong lumaki, di ba? Parang gaganda pa rin ang katawan ng lahat.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Di ba?
The wonders of Photoshop.
Even Manong Sani looking young and sprightly there.
Or maybe you're all holding your breath here.
Yeah, we always say stomach out, chest in reverse.
Someone was asking earlier for you to recount again the story about the Ginebra guy with the tattoos that you told us during the Usapang Jawo episode. But you've told that story before, but 1 minute just to tell the new viewers as you see me for the first time.
Yeah, this is where I realized how almost cultish the fans of Ginebra are. We were in a trip. Don't exactly even remember. I think it was like Tagigaraw. I think that's what pops in my mind where we were. We were on a bus, And the team was traveling along. You know how it is. There's a kind of a little motorcade. Sometimes there's a little motorcycle guy in front and all that stuff. And we had banners on the side of the bus and all that. And I'll never forget, there was a guy who just basically stopped our bus. And he had just, he had a Ginebra bottle. I won't say how much was in it, but he had some in it. And he stopped the bus in front and just pounded it. Just finished it. He threw the bottle, glass everywhere. And then like the Hulk, he takes his shirt and he just rips it off. Right? And he's got tattoos all the way from arm to arm. And it said Jaworski forever in tattoos. And he's like this. And I was just like, either this guy's psycho or he really liked Jaworski. That was amazing. I was like, whoa.
If that happened now, for sure you guys would have had your cell phones and you're taking this guy. And that would have been great to capture that shot, right?
Well, we didn't have Tony Lou with us at that time. So.
But he could have been there because he was around. He had been around for a long time. So.
No means to take that picture. But that for me was like, holy mackerel. This is super next level. I mean, how many times
that's why I guess it's crazy when you put on this jersey until now, right? When it says Ginebra. It's like you have an S on your chest somehow. Right. You guys are all Supermen, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Coach Sonny went down from the bus to talk to the guy, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think so. But I was like freaking out, man. I was like, this guy's drunk and he's got glass all over the ground, and I'm staying here.
Yeah, but those guys would kill. That's how strong the attraction and the fandom is for Coach Sonny, because they'll kill for him. They'll defend. They're rabid. Even on our page, anything that they perceive as a slight to Coach Sonny, they're gonna get pissed. They're pissed at us too, as the host of the show. How can you allow this gift to say that about Coach Sonny? Hey, come on. We asked him a question. He answered. It's not like we provoked the guy to say it, but, So they get upset.
Did I ever tell you about the gun that was in the locker room once? I know I'm going. Let's spill the beans. So here we go.
Go. Yeah.
All right. So we're at a game. This is in Cuneta. This is a long time ago. So I guess what do you call it? The length of time for prosecution is gone. No, but okay. So we're at a game. We're in Cuneta, and like I think somebody like whacked me with an elbow or something, and then like another time somebody hit me, and everybody was going nuts and all that stuff. So anyway, halftime, I go into the locker room. This is in Cuneta, and some guy who I had never met. I don't even know who he was. I think maybe he's somebody's somebody. I don't know, right? I don't know who he was. He comes to me, and he pulls out a gun. He goes, "If you want, I'll get him back." And I just looked at him like, no. He was serious too. I'm like, no, we don't have to kill anybody for the game today. Yeah. I was like, so many thoughts going through my mind, like, how the heck did you get a gun in my locker room?
But that's how crazy Cuneta can be, So.
Yeah. Security there was, left much to be desired. But did you report that to the league?
Walk away. Just walk away.
You never told security about it anymore.
I told Coach. I don't know who he told. I was like, Coach, you guys got a gun. Like, get out.
Wow, man. That would not have been commensurate. An elbow and then a gun. Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, no. I can give him my elbow instead.
That's right. You just hit him back in the second half, right?
For me, those two stories for me just show you the depth of the love, almost to over point that these guys would go. Amazing. Who does that, right?
Exactly.
If I didn't see it, I wouldn't even believe that it happened, but I was right there.
You were right there, exactly. Let's look at the last photo, I think, for our time capsule for this episode. So you crossed over, as we said. You're on this is your camera, if I'm not mistaken, Vince. You handed it over to one of our guys. This is prior to one of our games. So you're still there, still involved. Now you're critiquing and analyzing what goes on during the games. We work together at times, even in the bubble. Remember, we had some nice games in the bubble when we were in full PPE and all of that with our masks and what you call that, the shields on. But how different is this? I mean, is it? There's no pressure at all, right? When you're calling the game.
Well, there's a certain pressure because you want to have a good communication. I mean, right energy and all that stuff when you have games, and you're trying to give a real story. I mean, you're not just trying to like say XO, this guy goes here or that guy's that. I mean, even though I'm considered as an analyst, sometimes I overstep my bounds and sort of overshare maybe, and I always tell you I'm sorry if I'm oversharing, right, when we're working together. But I just feel that a lot of people want to hear the story as well. They want to see how maybe an ex-pro would break down things, and that's kind of what I bring to the table. I have fun doing it. I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Keeps me close to the game. Keeps me close to the league. I'm constantly learning how delivery and all these things are done as well. And I get to get the best seats in the house. I'm right there in front. I get to watch these games.
Right.
So a lot of good times. And I just look at it as a blessing. I'm not playing the game anymore, but I still get to talk about it a lot.
Right.
Well, which player today in the PBA, Vince, reminds you most of yourself?
Ooh, good question, Sid. Geez. I see a little bit of me in a couple different guys, but I mean, I'm not saying anything, but let's see here. Well, okay. Let's see. When I think of shooting, I think of Lassiter. I think we're kind of similar in that we just look for those outside shots. We both try to really extend the defense because our bigs are really good. In his case, Junmar. So what he does is he just makes the defense say, "Who do we guard?" Right? And that's kind of exactly what I did. He would, he makes the defense come out, and when they do, dump it down to Junmar, single coverage. Junmar does his thing, MVP. Right? So for me, I love the way he looks for those shots. Who else? The other one I was thinking. Anyways,
I'm trying to think of who are the knockdown shooters in today's PBA outside of Lassiter and having a hard time.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I did. That's all I really did. I mean, and I always tell guys, I mean, if you look at me, I was never the most athletic. I never jumped the highest or ran the fastest, but I had a skill. My skill was just knocking down shots. And when I did that, I really helped the team, I thought. And like you mentioned at the top of the telecast, Chakuna, I learned how to go farther and farther away. And that really just messed up the other team's defense. They're like, now what? You take 4 or 5 steps behind the 3-point line. Defense comes out too far, make one move, I'm right by them. But it's all predicated on me making the shot first. Because if I don't make that shot, they don't come out. So again, the skill of shooting helped me to do other things. So that's
right. Awesome. So you had a nice PBA career, 305 games in 7 seasons for 3 PBA franchises, almost 10 points a game, and 3 assists. So not just a gunner, he was passing the ball as well. People tend to forget that he was doing that. That was time capsule brought to us by Fitbit. Feel the power. Check out Fitbit.com for all their products and all the services that Fitbit can provide for you. So, ganda na kwentuhan natin, Sid. Ano mga pahabol question? Someone asked in the comment box, what's the most memorable game that you've covered as an analyst?
Oh, wow. That triple overtime we did? No, just kidding. No, just kidding. Some of those. Anyways, there's so many. It's hard to name one. I mean, there's so many. I generally like the championship games more. I love the pressure. It brings me back to where I was, and you're in the middle of all of that, and I just like to see certain things like that. I got to cover the I think one of the greatest comebacks ever, the San Miguel, Alaska thing. I was like amazed at, I thought for sure that's an Alaska championship, and then
right.
boom, here comes San Miguel, like from nowhere to winning it. So I mean, again, covering those types of games has been amazing. Got to see a lot of great imports and learn from them. And I'm still studying styles. I still don't totally understand sometimes the way we train now compared to my day. I mean, they're doing all kinds of funny things now, but my day, just shoot and shoot again, and that's it. And that's kind of what we did. But again, the modern game is ever evolving. I think it's a lot more athletic, not as rugged, but it's a lot more athletic. Guys are jumping higher and running faster and all those things. So again, it's just a different time, and my time was fun, and I enjoyed it a lot. And I guess I'm biased, but I think those were the funnest times.
Okay, a lot of people say that nga. Sid, ikaw, anong pahabol natin?
No, I'm good.
Okay ka na? You're good, huh?
Yeah.
The story is good. We have to enter our segments, our regular segments now, Vince, before we let you go. I know you have something this afternoon. So we'll go into what we call the...
I'm playing a game in Marianas, Cavite. So,
wow.
Marianas, Cavite in a couple hours.
This is with the other former pros?
Yeah, legends. Alan Caide.
Right. Nice. Have fun. Get ready with those. You got to sign some autographs later on. Twilight Zone. Let's enter the Twilight Zone, Carla. The Twilight Zone means we are in the last part of our show, and the first part of Twilight Zone is X's or O's, brought to us by HindelabandStore.com. Check them out on Lazada, Shopee, and the HindelabandStore.com for their products like Adlai flour and coffee. Okay, X's or O's. I'm going to give you some choices, Vince. You know how this goes. And you just tell me which one is your choice. You don't have to explain why you chose that way. Just tell me which one is your choice. And I know you, Vince. You're not the type who's going to say it's a tie. You have to choose. You're
okay, it's time.
Number one, Wilmer Ong or EJ File?
Oh, jeez.
First one pa lang yan, huh?
It's a lot. Huh. Because they're both my friends. They're both going to be mad at me for... I like XO. We drinking? No, just kidding. Wilmer. Oh, man. I'll just say EJ, because you really can't find a 7-footer around except for EJ. So, yeah. EJ.
Okay, Marlu.
Marlu
or Jerry Cordillera? Oh, sorry. Okay. You're explaining.
No, it's good. Go ahead.
Marlu or Jerry Cordillera?
Marlu, because he's taller. But Jerry, because he's a good friend. I don't know. Marlu.
That's a tie, man. Okay, Marlu. But you said Marlu. Noli Locsin or Alvin Patrimonio?
Noli. Because he's my friend. But you can give me the hard. Yeah, no, I mean, I'll say one-on-one. If those two went at it, that would be a phenomenal one-on-one back in the day. I would have loved it.
They should have brought back those one-on-ones during their time. Bal David, Olsen Racela.
Bal. The Flash, man.
See the Ginebra. Obviously, there's a leaning towards Ginebra. Okay. JV Gayoso or Bennett Palad?
Daddy's Angel.
Daddy's Angel. Okay, that's JV. Benny Cheng or Maki De Hoya?
Oh, God, they're both great defensive guys, eh?
Mm-hmm.
But Benny guarded more 3 men. Benito,
okay. Reggie Fox, Derek Rucker, or Fred Cofield?
Ooh, okay. Fox, no. Rucker, that's the Australian guy. He was really good. Cofield, just because I that funky BJ Simone shot that he had.
No one here, yeah.
Or it was popular.
Henry James or Chris King?
King. Henry James could shoot the universe out of the ball, but Chris King, that's a baller, man.
Okay.
That's a winner.
Follow it up with Chris King or Kenny Redfield?
Chris King.
Chris King pa rin. Okay.
I was closer to him.
I probably know your answer here, but I just want to hear Chot Reyes, Sonny Jaworski, or Yang Yao?
Here we go. I thought it's an X for YZ now. Again, I'll say Coach Jaworski.
Yeah, of course.
My greatest improvements happened under him. So, and he gave me my big chance.
Okay. Pido Harenso or Frankie Lim?
Oh, man. Here we go again. Both funny guys, man. You're talking about comedy hour or basketball?
I don't know. However you appreciate the choice.
I'll say Pido. Teammate.
Okay. Dennis Edwards or Leon Trimmingham?
Ooh. Edwards was a baller too. Trimmingham could jump. Trimmingham. Won dunk contest, right?
Yep. Okay.
Neon
PBA or
Leon.
NBA?
Huh?
PBA, NBA?
PBA, of course.
PBA.
No doubt about that.
Oh, yung mga kasamahan mo, Joey Santa Maria or Dominic Uy?
Here we go. Okay. Why are you doing this to me? Come on, man. Come on.
This is the part he's so relaxed throughout the show. Now he's getting tense. Okay.
Both my, very good.
Okay,
friends.
okay. Let's give it a tie for those two guys. Okay. Guarding Alan Kaidik or guarding Samboy Lim?
Harder? I'll say Samboy. Samboy.
Okay.
Because, when I caught Alan, he was kind of in his latter years. So he wasn't as mobile. And I was kind of at the peak of my mobility.
Okay.
But I wouldn't have known how he was maybe 10 years earlier. When he was like super balling out in Tivoli and Presto and stuff like that.
Yeah. Tony Lang or Sean Lampley?
Tony Lang, man. That's
Tony
my boy.
Lang.
Antonio.
Lordy or Junti?
Lordy is so mabait.
Okay, so it's Lordy. Lordy over Junti. Okay. Or am I answering for you? Devon Harp or Mick Penisi?
Come on, man. They're both my boys, obviously. I used to hang out with them. One, I have to speak like Australian English, but Mick's just fun. Mick.
Okay. Mick. Si Mick Penisi. Okay, yeah, he's crazy, the guy. 2001 Commissioner's Cup or 2002 Commissioner's Cup? Both championships.
One.
2001. Okay. Nelson or Noli?
Again, friends.
They're all your friends, man.
Exactly. Noli's my teammate longer.
Okay, si Noli pa rin talaga. Willie Miller or Ato Agustin?
Ooh. Willie.
Willie.
Willie's a baller, man. I grew to respect Willie so much when I had to guard him every day at Red Bull.
Uh-huh.
And I was getting old, and I'm like, this guy's.
Yeah, because he was speaking during that time. Okay, these two guys next. Homer Se or Jay Mendoza?
Jay Mendoza. There's a funny guy. Yeah, Jay's
coach. Yeah. Being a coach, being a commissioner, being a broadcaster.
Oh. Player.
Not included. Not included.
You got to check too. I like being a broadcaster. Actually, I don't have to take care of the players.
I think that's the least pressure among the three. So, yeah, probably. I thought you're gonna choose. Okay, Teddy Di Mayuga, Ber Navarro, or Tony Chua.
Ber Navarro was like a father figure to me at La Tudena.
Okay, and then the last one. Please show the photo, Carla. Aiko, Carmina, or Rufa? You did mention one of them earlier. You almost got into a movie with her, right? So I don't know if you'll choose her.
Yeah. The fourth one.
Wala namang Patricia dyan, eh. There's no Patricia in the photo, so.
Look at that hair, though, man. Wow.
You gotta love it, right?
I think they were using Pert.
So who'll it be?
Yes.
Yes. Any of the above.
Or no. I'm not.
That's X's or O's for this episode 161 of Eternity of Basketball. We will leave that hanging because it seems either of the three will do. That's X's or O's. Okay, Sid, how about you? Your question first before we go to the last one.
Yeah. Okay, my question, Vince. Still not sponsored. So if anyone's interested, please just drop us a message. If you could have dinner with any basketball player, past or present, living or dead, who would it be and why?
Oh, wow. Past or okay, for sure. I would have to go with Michael. MJ.
Michael Jordan. Okay.
Yeah, just because, I mean, never met him. Number one, I'd love to pick his brain. He's very similar to me now. We both have a very keen interest in golf as well after basketball. So I'd like to know what his things are on his mind, because he's also, obviously a team owner now too. So he sees the game in a totally different light. I'd love to pick his brain. I love, one of my favorite things is to get into the minds of people, especially like the elite athletes. I love seeing what's in there. And it doesn't matter what sport. A lot of times, like I could be talking to like the number one Formula One driver, for example, who I got to meet, Coulthard, right? Or the best equestrian or the best volleyball or whatever sport. I just love talking to those upper echelon guys because they're just different. The way they process things is just different. Yeah.
Right.
So MJ.
MJ. Okay.
Good answer. Good answer.
That's the guy. Always a good answer when it's MJ. All right, then our last one for this, before we go into the greetings portion, is what we call our Seryosong Tanong. Brought to us by Seryoso Chili Garlic, delicious, aromatic, and crispy chili garlic bits in pure coconut oil made with naturally, locally sourced ingredients, no preservatives, no artificial flavorings, no salt. Ito ang chili garlic na seryosong maanghang at kaya kang ipaglaban, di kagaya ng ex mo. Di ba? Feel ni ni Noel pag binabasa niya. Seryosong tanong. This is our serious question for you, Mr. Vince Hizon. If Dodot did not enter the PBA, would you still have wanted to transfer to Ginebra?
Yes, because again, Coach Jaworski had shown an interest in me even before the first draft. So I'll say yes. That's very serious.
Mm-hmm. That's the serious answer to the serious question. Why, aside from Jaworski, so follow up serious question. Aside from Jaworski showing interest in you, I'm sure there were other teams who had interest in you as well. Why Ginebra? Was it Ginebra? Just really Ginebra? No, you didn't want Alaska. Alaska was, getting there already at the time.
Well, again, at the time, Coach, even when I was in Ateneo, Coach Trot was the assistant coach for Alaska. So I think I used to, when I wanted to watch PBA games, I would either ask Dodot or I'd ask Trot, and I'd either get my tickets from Ginebra or Alaska. So that was how it was back in those times. But again, once I started to really play, because Dodot was also a player, so sometimes even when we were in college, we would go to some of the trainings of Ginebra and actually got to run around the court with them. And I got to play against all those guys. Even when the time when Benji Paras was trying to get over to Ginebra, I was there. So we do scrimmages, and I got my shot blocked by Benji. At least I got it done early, before I got to the pros.
Right.
Guy could really fly, obviously. So that's for me the reason why that I always felt at home when I was with Ginebra, and it wasn't a huge adjustment for me because I already understood what they were expecting. The kind of rugged, go bada style, right? And having been welcomed to the party by Chito Loizaga and Sonny Gabatu making a sandwich out of me. So I learned it right away. You gotta step up or step off.
Right. Okay. So it's Ginebra. You still would have gone there. A lot of our players, actually, when we ask them where they would have preferred to transfer, they say Ginebra. A lot of our guests. Okay. So that is, let's enter the last portion. It's called Hello Porky. This is the greetings, acknowledgement, thank you, hi, shout out portion. Mr. Hizon, you can say hello to everyone right now.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Goodbye.
That's it?
No. No. Got a few friends who, I'd like to greet, of course. I got a good friend, Ray Panongbayan, good guy. He's definitely been a great supporter throughout the years. And actually, we played a little golf as well. I have to greet, of course, the two Patricias in my life. Of course, my wife, beautiful, lovely. Thank you for watching. And I hope our son won the game. And Patricia Cabral, who I saw there in the message.
Up, Trish?
And yeah. She's her family took super good care of me, and they're like family to me. So hi to mom and dad. You guys are awesome.
Of course, got to say hello to Dodot, Vice Mayor, I should say, Vice Mayor Dodot now. He's honorable now, but before he was elected, he was even more honorable. So I'm happy for him, and I think he's doing good things in the city of Pasig. So I wish him all the success there. Of course, have to greet Vice Mayor Gian Soto and Mayor Joy Belmonte for putting up the Quezon City Beacons team, which I'm helping. I'm the GM of that team, so it's a professional team. We're in one league now, but we're looking to expand. So, of course, to those very supportive people. And, of course, last but not least, the Ginebra faithful and people who have followed me throughout my career. I just appreciate, all the support and the prayers, especially, even more than anything else, for me and for my career and everything. It's an amazing ride. I can't say that it's not been fun. It's been a lot of fun. There's some challenges, but somehow, some way, we've sort of overcome them all. So appreciate it. The continued prayers for, of course, my family and my life after basketball, playing wise, has been amazing. So again, I appreciate all that, and for all the love, it's right back at you. God bless you, and see you again on the other side of eternity.
All right. Thanks so much, si Principe, El Principe, Vince the Prince Hizon. Sometimes we call him Ben Hizon. That's a story for another day. Diba? Si Ben Hizon yan. So that's the story of Vince Hizon here on AEOB. We finally got him, episode 161. He is the youngest as far as draftees are concerned. No? 1994 draft. Bata na sa ating show so far. No? Of course, si Boy Beats kasi hindi wala pang solo episode. Very soon we will have him. So, we'd like to remind everyone, AEOB is powered by San Miguel Corporation in cooperation with Hinalaban Farm, Serioso Chili Garlic, and Fitbit. Thank you for that. We are part of the Globally Ballin Network. We'd like to greet our AEOB family members who celebrated their birthdays this past week. Of course, Andy Thompson, Tim Coloso, and Jervis Cole. Yung mga past birthday celebrants natin this past week. And then, shout out to everyone who's been watching. Salamat sa inyong suporta. Always, week to week, you're here for all of us. Vince the Prince, thank you so much. Patring, thank you so much. People are asking, why no photo of the proposal? Everybody saw that already. It's okay.
Yeah.
What happened. The t-shirt is there. His details are with me, Vince. I'll send you his details of AC for that jersey.
Congratulations, AC. Congratulations.
Yep. AC Domantay, maraming salamat at congrats sa iyo. So, episode 161 is now in the books. We will announce our next guest. I think if we work it out, I think especially the older timers will love this next episode next week here on the show. So Vince, maraming salamat. I'll see you at the games. God bless everybody for watching sa araw na ito. Please continue supporting AEOB. And yes, we have to end. Kahit eternity ito, kailangan may katapusan. So, maraming salamat. Ingat po. Kain na po tayo. Maraming salamat. We'll see you next week. Thanks, Carla. Thanks, Aaron. Rest of the Globally Balling crew. We'll see you guys. Sid, ingat.
Thank you.
All right, Vince, ingat. Enjoy your game later, partner.
Bye.